is the complete script for a 10-minute episode of Corporate Crimes, based on a hypothetical trending topic for May 2026. Title: The Green Algorithm. How AI helped steal $4.2 billion in carbon credits. Description: in 2025, Big Tech promised to save the planet, but one company used AI to fabricate 200 million tons of carbon offsets, cashing in on the climate crisis. This is the story of the green algorithm fraud, the largest environmental scam in history. Discover how a tech darling fooled regulators, investors, and the UN. Tags: corporate crimes, white-collar crime, carbon fraud, AI greenwashing, environmental scandal. Script. Narrator. On paper, it was the most ambitious climate project in human history. A forest in the Amazon, planted by AI-powered drones, bigger than the entire country of Switzerland. The company behind it promised it would sequester millions of tons of carbon. Investors poured in billions. Governments celebrated it, but there was a problem. The forest wasn't real. Narrator. Welcome back to Corporate Crimes. I'm your host. Today, we are uncovering the story of Ethirus AI, a company that was on the cover of Wired in 2024, and on the FBI's most wanted list by May of 2026. This isn't a story about a boiler room or a Ponzi scheme. This is about the weaponization of algorithms to commit fraud on an industrial scale. It's about how a green algorithm was used to steal $4.2 billion from climate funds, pensioners, and the UN. This is the carbon credit heist. Section 1. The promise: to understand the crime, you have to understand the market. By 2024, the global voluntary carbon market was exploding. Corporations like Meta, Microsoft, and Shell were desperate to buy carbon credits, a permit representing 1 ton of CO2 removed from the atmosphere. It was a $1 trillion opportunity. Enter Ethirus AI, founded in 2022 by a trio of Stanford PhDs. Dr. Elena Vance, an AI ethics dropout; Marcus Thorne, a former Goldman Sachs quant; and Dr. Kenji Tanaka, a climate scientist. They pitched a miracle: precision afforestation. Their algorithm, coded Project Sequoia, would use satellite data, soil sensors, and AI to plant trees at 10x the speed of humans, and measure the carbon stored with perfect accuracy. Narrator. By early 2025, they had secured $1.8 billion in Series C funding. They announced a partnership with the government of a South American nation. We'll anonymize it as Verdania. They claim to have planted over 1.2 billion trees in a region previously used for illegal cattle ranching. The credits went on sale. They were snapped up instantly. Ethirus was valued at $12 billion. Section 2. The algorithm of lies, but in the shadows. The algorithm was lying. The first red flag came from Dr. Lena Petrova, a soil ecologist at the University of Copenhagen. She was analyzing public satellite images from Verdania. She noticed something strange. Ethirus's data showed a 40% increase in canopy cover, but the raw, unprocessed satellite images from the European Space Agency showed nothing, just dirt. Narrator. When she tried to publish, she was threatened with a lawsuit. She went to the SEC instead. What the FBI found was staggering. This wasn't a simple accounting error. This was a generative AI fraud. Marcus Thorne, the quant, had trained the algorithm on a dataset of real forests from Costa Rica and Borneo. The AI didn't plant trees. It generated fake satellite imagery. It produced lidar scans of forests that didn't exist. It created fake soil moisture reports. They called it the green algorithm. It was a hardware store. Ethirus owned 1,500 drones, but 90% of them were never used for planting. They flew the drones over empty fields, collecting real dirt, but the algorithm would, in paint, the image to show saplings. Narrator. They sold 200 million tons of fake carbon credits. That's the equivalent of the annual emissions of 40 million cars. Section 3. The collapse. The House of Cards collapsed in January 2026. A whistleblower, a junior software engineer named Raj Singh, had been working on Project Sequoia. He noticed the server logs were being deleted every 7 days. So, he hid a file. He took a photo. He drove 6 hours into the Verdania region. He stood at the GPS coordinates that Ethirus claimed were the site of their flagship forest. He took a selfie. Behind him, nothing. No trees. Just a scorched, barren landscape. Narrator. He uploaded the photo to an encrypted chat room with the Wall Street Journal. 2 days later, the story broke. The forest that was never there. The market panicked. Ethirus stock crashed 82% in a single day. The SEC raided their Menlo Park headquarters. They seized 400 terabytes of data. But the founders were gone. Dr. Vance, Thorne, and Tanaka had already liquidated their stock. They had converted their crypto assets into cash. Dr. Vance is still a fugitive. She is believed to be in a non-extradition country. But last week, Marcus Thorne was arrested trying to board a private jet in Vanuatu. He was carrying a briefcase containing $40 million in diamonds. Section 4. The victims. This wasn't a victimless crime. The buyers were the world's largest corporations. Microsoft lost $400 million. Shell wrote off $1 billion in worthless credits. But the real damage? It didn't happen on a balance sheet. Narrator. Because companies bought fake offsets instead of actually reducing their own emissions. They used Ethirus credits to claim net zero status. They didn't upgrade factories. They didn't buy electric trucks. Dr. Lena Petrova. They effectively stole the planet's time. We have now lost 2 years of effective climate mitigation. We cannot get that back. The United Nations Framework Convention on Climate Change has now voided all credits from Ethirus. But the damage is done. The entire carbon credit market has lost trust. Prices have fallen 70%. Green investment in the global south has dried up. Conclusion. The warning. As of May 2026, the hunt for Dr. Elena Vance continues. The FBI believes she is using an AI-powered voice modulator and a network of shell companies to hide her digital footprint. Narrator. The lesson of Ethirus is terrifying. We are entering an age where the crime scene itself can be generated by a computer. The evidence, the forest, the soil, the oxygen, didn't exist. It was all code. The next scam won't be hiding money in the Cayman Islands. It will be hiding the truth inside a black box algorithm. Narrator. This tech can be used for good. Or it can be used to steal the future. That's all for this episode of Corporate Crimes. If you want to see the unedited whistleblower photograph of the empty forest, check the link in the description. Click the bell icon. Subscribe. Because the next scam is being coded right now. We'll see you next time. Stay skeptical.